What is the best way to learn? There are 3 ways that you could learn. A lot of people are smart, but they're not wise. Wisdom is something completely different. Instead of everybody else, they're thinking of the ideas, they're learning about it, I know that. No, you know what? I ask, how can I use that? How can I use that?
Wanna soar?
Get a mentor.
What's up, Believe Nation? It's Evan. I believe in you, and this channel is designed to be a part of your daily success routine. So today, let's learn from one of the best, Dan Lok, and his best advice on how to become a more effective learner. Also, if you want to know what Dan and other successful entrepreneurs have to say about building unstoppable confidence, check out my 254 Confidence series, where every day for the next 254 days, I will send you a morning video for free to help you build your confidence. The link to join is in the description below.
After you practice martial art, you develop this natural self-confidence. Not cockiness, but you develop this natural self-confidence.
Okay, let's kick it off with rule number 1, study success.
What is the best way to learn? There are 3 ways that you could learn. Number 1 is learning from yourself. What I call the school of hard knocks. You're learning from your mistakes, right? You figure things out. Now, it is good, and a lot of us do that. I made a lot of mistakes. I have paid the price through the school of hard knocks. The problem with learning from yourself is it costs a lot of time and it costs us a lot of money. There's a great saying, if you think education is expensive, try ignorance. And it's very, very true. Learning from yourself, because most people, their awareness level is very, very low. Have you ever had this experience? You try something new, you make a mistake, and you say to yourself, I'll never make that mistake again. And next time you make that same mistake again. And you say to yourself, no, I'll never, ever make that mistake again. And you make that mistake yet again. So even though you're learning from the school of hard knocks, you're learning from yourself, but really you have not learned your lesson. The second way to learn is learning from your peers. Learning from people around you, your family, your friends, your colleagues. Now, which is fine. The problem with that is chances are sometimes you don't learn or you learn the wrong thing. So let me give an example. Imagine 2 people who both don't know how to dance. I lock them in the room and I say, hey, you know what? You guys teach each other how to dance. I'm gonna come back in 30 days. Now, after 30 days, unlock the door, open the door. My question to you is, would they magically know how to dance? The answer is no, because they both don't know how to dance. So how could they teach each other? It makes no sense. So learning from your peers. So that doesn't work either. The third way to learn is what I believe the most powerful way to learn is learning from a mentor. Learn from someone who's been there and done that and continues to do it. Someone who is not just who are at the same level, who is not even a little bit more successful than you. I'm talking about someone who is infinitely more successful than you, infinitely wiser than you, infinitely more experienced than you. So let's say you're making $50,000 a year. You don't want to learn from someone who's making $60,000 a year. You don't even want to learn from someone who's making $100,000 a year. You don't even want to learn from someone who's making $1 million a year. You want to learn from someone who's making $10 million a year, $20 million a year, $50 million a year, $100 million a year. Why? Because their level of thinking is so much higher. When you are learning from someone like that, easily they can pull you. They can uplift you to a whole new level. I remember when I was in my early 20s, at the time when I first found my mentor, his level of thinking at the time was so much higher. I was making a few $1,000s a month, a couple grand, and he said to me, he said, Dan, I'm not gonna write a sales letter unless I believe it's gonna do at least $1 million a year. I said, what the f? Yeah, he said, I'm not gonna write a letter, a piece, a direct mail piece, unless I believe it's gonna generate a minimum of $1 million a year. It expanded my horizon. Now the possibility, oh, wow. I'm still trying to make a few $100s with my marketing pieces. He's thinking he's not gonna even waste his ink if it's not gonna make him at least $1 million a year. That's what I'm talking about. So learning from a mentor.
Rule number 2, get clarity.
But when it comes to reading, I read a book. Sometimes if I'm looking for any book that I read, I have a simple question. I want to get what are the 3 ideas that I can get from the book that I can implement right now. Just 3. Not 10, not 20, not 100, 3 ideas. If I could get those 3 ideas from the first 3 chapters, I will highlight those, I will take those, and I'll put the book away. I'll put it back on the shelf. Maybe later on I'll go back there and read the rest of the book and implement some of the other ideas. But if I got my big 3, that's all I need. Sometimes I would get those ideas in the back of each chapter where they're talking about action steps and summary and resources. That's awesome. Sometimes I got the idea just from the table of content. If I read the table content, that gave me enough 3 ideas. I put it away and then just implement. So I don't read books. It's not about accumulation. I think here's a big distinction I want you to get. One of the most powerful tool, one of the most powerful mindset you need to have in life and business is clarity. And clarity is power. Clarity is power. And what is power? The power is the ability to take action. So if the more you read, the more confused that you get, it gives you less clarity. It means it takes away from your power. If more reading gives you more clarity and gives you more ability to act, that's good. That's powerful, right? That's on the right track. So there's a big difference between information and knowledge to wisdom. Let me explain. This would give you a lot of clarity. Information is just facts, data, numbers, figures, theories, principles. That's just information. There's a lot of information on the internet. There's a lot of information on YouTube. There's a lot of information on Google. There's a lot of information, but information itself does not help you. It does not make you richer. It does not make you happier. It does not make you healthier. It does not make you smarter. Information is just information. It's like when you go to school, right? You're going to class, your textbook. There's a lot of information in the textbook, right? That's the first stage. Once you gather enough information, now you're accumulating what I call knowledge. So you get a lot of information, and you now learn about the distinctions. Now you take that information, you apply it, or maybe you take that information and you take a test. That's knowledge. After the test, you know after the exam in school, oh, that works, or oh, no, that was the wrong answer, or I didn't pass the exam, or here are the mistakes that I got wrong. Well, you're learning from it, right? That's accumulating your knowledge. So a lot of people, they read books to acquire information. You watch video to acquire information, and you wonder, how come I'm watching a lot of videos, I'm learning, but my life is still the same? Because you haven't converted information to knowledge, and from knowledge into experience. Now, how do you convert knowledge into experience? So now you acquire some knowledge, you got to implement. And the only way you get experience is you f*** up a lot, right? You make the mistakes. You see if this stuff works, right? Now you're getting experience. You're seeing a pattern of things. Goes back to the school example. Now you take enough exams. Remember the class you take from like grade 9, 10, 11, 12, right? Now you take enough exams studying the same subject for many years in a row. Now you see a pattern. Okay, I'm accumulating more things. I'm getting more experience of what works and what doesn't. Now experience, that's much more valuable. It's more valuable than knowledge, and knowledge is more valuable than information. So books itself is just information. Information does not change your life. Information doesn't change your life. You got to convert it by gathering, filter into knowledge. From knowledge, now you implement. Now you get to the next step, which is experience. Then from experience, from now you have done it long enough, a long period of time, now is evolve into wisdom. A lot of people are smart, but they're not wise. Wisdom is something completely different, okay? Wisdom is knowing what not to do. Wisdom is knowing when you don't have to do something. So let's say in enough experience, you know what? This is how I'm going to make this work. These are 20 things that I could do. My experience tells me these are the 20 things I could do to make me successful. Wisdom is knowing, okay, 19 of these is bullshit, just do this one. That is the difference.
And rule number 3, the last one before a very special bonus clip, is learn to execute better.
You see, most people, they let their ego get in the way of success. It's very easy. You notice people say, I know that. Well, you don't know shit. You do not know it. How do you know when you know something? If you don't live it, you don't know it. So those 3 words are very, very dangerous, and they destroy your potential, they destroy your success. Why? Because the minute you say, I know that, your brain shuts down. You're not listening anymore. And you're like, okay, I know that, I don't need to listen any further. You're not paying attention. So what, you know it. So what that you know it. It's not about knowing it. I could tell you this, I am not an original thinker. Let me just tell it to the whole world. I am not an original thinker. There's nothing new about what I do. Everything I learned from Napoleon Hill, other successful entrepreneurs, Think and Grow Rich, proven masters from the past, my mentors. There is absolutely nothing new about what I say and about what I do. I am a synthesizer. I take different ideas, I put it together. The only difference between me and everybody else is I don't say, I know that. What do I say? I say, I use that. I use that. Those 3 words are much more powerful than say, I know that. Because when I use it, I own it. It is mine. Instead of everybody else, they're thinking of the ideas, they're learning about it, I know that. No, you know what? I ask, how can I use that? How can I use that? How can I use that? I implement. The only difference between me and everybody else, I can execute it better than most people. I use it better than most people. That's the only difference. Instead of you just watching a video, you watch 50, 100 videos, you don't use shit. I can use one video, I can read one book, I can take ideas and I can implement, execute immediately, and I execute well. That's the only difference.
Now I've got a special bonus clip with Dan on how to get the most out of every event that I really think you're going to enjoy. But before that, it's time for the 3-point landing questions. Time to move from just watching another video to taking action in your life or business. And if you're feeling bold, leave your answers in the comments below. Here we go. Question number 1, what do you need to execute better on? Number 2, where do you need more clarity? And number 3, whose success will you study this week?
Just in the last 60 days, I've gone to 6 different events just because I'm always about improving myself and I love the live environment. I think nothing is more powerful when you get out of your own environment, get out of your own city, and you go somewhere and just have some learning time, some thinking time. And I always on my way to the event, on the flight, I would plan, I would think about different things, I would reflect. So how do you get the most out of any seminar, any event that you go to? So first of all, I look at any event and it's just me. I think most people, they go to an event, they just go there to learn. Meaning they go there, they're thinking it's like classroom, right? They have a big notebook or their laptop, they go there and they try to take as much notes as possible, and they bring home, they bring the big binder and they go home, and that becomes shelf help, not self-help. You put on a shelf and you never touch it again. It becomes what I call very expensive dust collector. I don't want that to happen to you, okay? I want you to implement. So the way I go to the event, when I go to the event, I wear 3 different hats, okay? Stay with me. 3 different hats. First thing that I want to get out of the event, my first hat is the connector hat. I'm going there to connect with people because business is all about relationship. Wealth is created by relationships. So I want to make sure that I connect with the right people, with the players, with the important people, and establish those relationships. So before I go to the event, I'll have sometimes my team just do some research ahead of time. Who is attending the event? Who is speaking at the event? Who are the people that I want to make sure I connect with? So I would wear my connector's hat and then go there. My focus is I want to connect with the right people. I want to establish those relationships, deliver what value can I deliver to them. That's why every time I go to an event, I come home, I always bring home with a lot of new context, and it expands my network, right? So that connector's head. That's how you get the most out of it. Any event, any seminar, not just learning. The second thing that I do is, for sure, I go there to learn. But the difference is, I think most people that go to an event, they try to memorize. Again, it's bad habit from school. Because in school, how do you get good grades? You memorize, right? You take exams. But in the business world, it's not like that. I go there, I want ideas and strategies that I can implement right now. So if I'm going to a 2-day event, I'm not trying to understand everything that the speakers talk about. I'm not trying to memorize everything that they talk or he or she talks about. That's crazy. I'm trying to get a few elegant, the key word is elegant ideas I can implement. What I believe is if I bring the ideas home, I bring the strategies home, if I don't implement those within 30 days, it's not gonna happen. You come home, you get busy, again, business, life happens, now you forget about it, and then you're like, oh, you know what, I'm gonna look into it later. Guess what, you never look into it again, ever. So the way I did to build momentum, while I'm at the event with my team, they will know, at the event, we're implementing. I learned this, say, you know what, let's do it. The guy is talking on stage, I am doing stuff, I'm sending email, let's do this, let's implement. Lunchtime, dinner, we're implementing. And we're implementing even before the flight home. By the time we're home, we're just building momentum. So it's not just so much about learning, it's about implementation. The third hat that I wear, so the first hat, connector. The second hat that I wear is just as a student, as a learner, right? The third is then I wear what I call the promoters or / speakers hat. Now I'm learning. So imagine me, I'm going to any conference. If you meet me at a conference, you see I have 2 sets of books. I have 2 sets of files if I'm taking notes with my cell phone. I have one note, it's what I'm learning from the speaker. Another file that I open is what are they doing? How are they delivering their story? How they are delivering their speech? How they are setting up the event? How's the staff trained? What's the flow? Right? What are things I could learn from how they do it? How they do it, right? Not just what they say. Oh, that speaker, the way he uses a story, that's fascinating. The way he sells, that's very interesting. The way they set the room, the light, and the whole experience, or the after dinner, that's fascinating. I take a lot of notes on just how they run the event and the speakers and all of that. So that's my speaker or promoter's hat.
Hi, this is Dan Lok. If you're a fan of Evan's work, if you want to know exactly how to model my success, I want to invite you to join me for a special online training. All you have to do is click on the link below. You can join me for absolutely no charge. So click on the link below and I will see you in class.
If you want more Dan Lok, check out the top 10 rules video I made on him. The link is right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
Why do you think people watch reality TV? You know what? I thought my life is a mess. But look at these people on TV. Instantly you feel better about yourself.